This period of instability is coming to an end. Mark my words, a 7 year will bring you more stability if you follow this guidance. This could be your breakthrough year because 7 is known as the luckiest number. Hi, everyone. This is Diana Palm, and I can't wait to share with you what the number 7 year means for you and how you can actually capitalize on the energy of a 7 year to maximize the positive impact in your life. Now, for those of you that don't know numerology, you break down the year 2023 by adding those digits together. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 equals 7. This makes it a 7 year. 7 is a magical number. There were 7 days in the original creation story. There are 7 days in the week. Many cultures believe that 7 is the luckiest number. 7 is a number of happiness and abundance. 7 represents eternal life and is associated with the crown chakra. The crown chakra, right on the top of our head, connects us directly to the divine. This is how we connect with our angels, our spirit guides, our loved ones in heaven. This is how we receive channeled information, divine guidance, and answers to the questions that you seek. 7 represents our connection to God, creator source, or whatever your higher power is. 7 is the number of perfection. Many cultures revere the number 7 as an extremely magical number. But we don't just fall into a year 7 without going through many changes. And in the past 3 years, I believe that we have been getting prepared for a 7 year. We have been shaped by the losses we've experienced, the financial instability, the loss of loved ones, and many other significant changes going on in our worlds and in our personal lives. This has all been to create space, to rearrange things, and to help us go inward, to really learn how to connect with ourselves and find a deeper purpose to our life and our existence before moving into a 7 year. If you have done that work, by the way, you're going to fly into 2023 full force, totally in the flow. If you didn't know you were supposed to do the inner work through going through all these life changes that the previous few years have brought to us, then this is the time to get on board. And the quicker you do this, the quicker you can capitalize on the magic of a 7 year. If this is the first time you're watching me and you don't know my personal story, I literally left my hometown just over a year ago. I left everybody I knew and loved. I left everything that was familiar to me. I moved cross country to Phoenix, Arizona with my daughter. And in the course of that move, my movers stole everything. So I quite literally had nothing left. Right after that significant loss, I lost my beloved cat. The next month, both my parents went into the hospital with COVID. My father never returned. He actually stayed in the hospital for another month and then passed away. And shortly after that, I lost my second cat. So I know about this loss. I know what kind of space it creates around you and within you. When you're experiencing one loss after the next, or one major life change after the next, it requires you to live differently. It requires you to almost unplug from who you have been and to really go within and find peace and find your own serenity and get into a new rhythm in your life. Maybe identifying with yourself in a way that you haven't allowed yourself to be before. I believe that all those losses and life changes really break apart the ego and kind of leave it laying on the floor. Because when you really get real about who you are, you become more authentic and you give yourself permission to be exactly who you are. And you no longer worry about people's projections of you or what your family thinks you're supposed to do or how you think you're supposed to show up in the world. You actually, in these moments of extreme change, give yourself permission to be you. And part of this is this strengthening of your inner spirit. It is the connection you have with the divine, this need or this ability to tune in with your spiritual energy, your higher wisdom, to connect with that knowing part of yourself instead of looking for it or seeking it out here. It's really refreshing to not need anyone's approval or not need to belong with a group or not need to associate or identify with who you've been known for in the past. It is really extremely freeing to move into the world in entirely new ways, allowing yourself to show up in the present moment without any of the baggage from the past, and really learning how to be a new version of you by staying in a present state of mind. And this is so much about what we've been learning through the loss experience and through all these very tumultuous life changes. 7 is all about positive energy. It literally brings the energy from heaven down to earth. And this is why it is such a heavenly number, and why so many miracles are going to happen this year, and why so much magic is available for you if you tap into it. When you move into a 7 year, it really calls to you to tune in with your higher self, to really be mindful of how you're showing up for others, and if that's even authentic to you anymore. Maybe at one point in your life it was, and maybe you recognize that now it's not. It's okay to give yourself permission to change these things in your life, because this is who you've been becoming. This is why you've gone through the losses you have. We are supposed to be shaped by the lives that we experience and the losses we experience. Every heartbreak that moves us forward into a deepening of our ability to love. We learn this way. Life wasn't meant to be static. It was meant to go up and down through the transitions of life. This is how our soul learns. And all the many losses we've been experiencing, they moved us into our readiness for where we are now. Let me know if you've experienced things like I have in the past few years. Let me know what kind of losses you've experienced, what kind of challenging life experiences you've gone through. And also, let me know how prepared you are for a number 7 year. I would love to hear that. Now, here's some things that you can do to prepare. If you don't currently meditate, start meditating, start some sort of spiritual practice. This could even be walking through nature alone, so that you can literally tune in with the energies around you, watching the clouds, listening to the animals, the birds, the water, whatever it is, where you're literally silencing your mind. When you're in this state, it allows you to receive divine guidance. It allows you to receive with clarity the answers that you seek. So any form of spiritual practice will help prepare you and ready you to receive the magic of a 7 year. If you have held parts of yourself back in relationship, it's time for you to be totally honest without fearing rejection. 7 years are really good for bringing true love together. And true love can only be found and connected to when both individuals are being completely authentic. Most of the time, people are thinking, oh, I need to be this way for that person, or this is how I was when he met me, or many other types of paradigms going on in the mind that's disallowing your ability to stay in the present moment. People change throughout their entire life. People grow. Sometimes they grow apart, sometimes they grow back together. But it's very important that you can authentically express who you are, be honest about who you are without that fear of rejection. Establishing this in the 7 year and using this for all your relationships will improve the nature of all your relationships. Plus, it will actually magnetize people to you that are vibrating where you are and who are more in alignment with who you have become. It's very important in a 7 year that you follow your heart. So whatever you have been afraid to do, whatever you've been putting on the back burner, you must follow your heart in a 7 year, because you will be supported by the unseen world. You will be supported by the universe, your guardian angels, your loved ones in heaven. There is so much energy available this year that you can draw to you, that you can take advantage of if you focus on being in alignment yourself. It's time for you to create your own destiny by stepping out of your comfort zone. Devote more time to yourself and become more aware of your intuition or mystical insight. In a 7 year, it's essential that you actually balance your practical nature with your spiritual side. One is no good without the other. So many people think that the spiritual is foo-foo or not necessary, or maybe they'll take time for it later, but that should actually be the base of how you start each and every day. When you combine and merge your practical side with your spirituality, you actually tap into the laws of the universe. You actually allow the universe to serve you by remaining in the flow and keeping your energy clear. It allows all your plans and practical ideas to come to fruition with the support of the universe. So if you've been feeling some friction around that, it may be that you've been acting out of alignment and need to balance your practical side with your spiritual side. This is the year for you to make your mark in the world. Reframe your story, reframe your loss, find the silver lining, all those wonderful things that you always hear. This is the time to utilize it. If you have been looking back at the last 3 years, thinking about all your suffering and your loss and your hardship and how things are, that is what you're actually putting back into your energy field. And the law of attraction is going to bring more of that to you. So it's very important that you reframe some of these things that you've lived through. The loss of my father last year was devastating, but in a weird way, it brought me closer to my father. I was able to tap into him intuitively and connect with him in a more intentional way than I had in many, many years. And I actually feel like we bonded more after his passing than we were able to when he was alive. So my relationship with him improved, and he's still in contact with me every day of my life. He is definitely part of my spirit team. So in every loss, there's a lesson, there's a healing, there's something significant and something beautiful and strong that comes from it. We're not supposed to get stuck in the loss and the grief, but rather the healing that we undergo because of it brings out a different aspect of us that we never would have been. It brings us deeper into ourselves, a more authentic self, a more real self, a more spiritually connected self. Whatever that looks like for you, it's a deepening of who you are. If you have found that you got stuck in grief, or that you've really had trouble shifting your mindset and your energy from the losses you've experienced, be sure that you check out my #1 spiritual grief healing program at www.dianapalm.com, where I use my spiritual gifts to connect with you in one-on-one private sessions, helping you to reframe and reshape the energy patterns and the thought process, belief systems around the things you've experienced, so that you can get back all your power and a healed heart and your ability to have clear vision, moving in the world more authentically. If that sounds good to you and you need that help and support, be sure you check that out at www.dianapalm.com. If you like this video, be sure to give me a like down below, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I can't wait to see you in the new year.